Okay, welcome back. You'll notice I missed day 12 because I've got other things to be doing. I also have magical creative activities going on, which is what this is for. But that's a prop for tomorrow. Today I'm drawing. Today's artistic project is to move away from doing like realistic representations and try and move towards Disneyfication, then hopefully on to anthropomorphism later in the month. This is Amber, my dog. I picked this pose because there's lots of interesting angles in it. Like if you were to trace the line of her spine, it goes sort of up there and then that way and then kind of like that. Obviously it's a bit curlier than that. It's sort of which you could probably melt this into that old golden spiral thing for a perfect Renaissance painting, but that's by the by. The attempt in this, I've picked a pose that has lots of unusual angles because I've noticed that one of the things that I seem to have the greatest difficulty with is angles, like getting the right angles in a pose. So that's what this is all about, essentially, trying to get this shape onto a piece of paper correctly. It also does a fantastic job of showing just how weirdly shaped her head is. So, actually the head is kind of a perfect circle like so. And if you follow the line of the nose all the way down, it's this sort of, yeah. I do wonder sometimes how many artists sort of trace over images for their first initial pictures and then kind of take away the original and then work backwards from that, because the recreation of the shape and the space is the hardest thing. Like trying to reconstruct this. If I could literally just go from this image, just from this outline like this, that would be my sketch work done then. That's the rough outline, and I could work the rest out from that. Like I could just boop and there she'd be, and I could fill the rest in, and someone's messaging me. I've just started my art and it's messages. Book club. Right, but we're not doing that. So I don't know why I did all that, because that's not what we're doing. And also I'm short on time tonight, partly because this dog just demanded her dinner, so it took some of my time away. I mean, she's already had her dinner, but she wanted more. And partly because she's back again. Yeah, I'm doing a picture of you, dog. Partly because I've got to do a quiz tonight at 8, so it might be that this only gets half done. So that's kind of the eyes are that's essentially the head, and then the ears sort of come off the sides of there. And then from that we've got the body, kind of goes from there, then there's an arc there, comes around to a thigh. So it's kind of that plus that plus that is the shape of this dog. She's like a sort of, it's like an insect shape almost. You've got your thorax, your abdomen and your head, and then your beak. Of course that's mandibles on an insect, but that doesn't count. And then approximately where that meets that, we have these big old paws coming in the sides, and then from that we go straight down. That one goes in a bit. So that's how we're going to construct this on here. Starting with the biggest part, which I think is the sort of the body up at the top. So if we start with that, and then from there we can come down to create that, and then we have the head. How much of that is an overlap? very little. So that's probably about right. Nope, that's about right. And from there, the eyes fit into there. The beak it's literally a straight line right down from that. So if we draw down from there, then we can add the beak. It's about right. Nose, eyes. Where do the eyes on a dog go? So there's kind of a central section here which has got nothing, and then it comes over. So seems about right. Maybe a little higher on that one. Yeah. So actually that's probably needs to be a bit larger. No, that kind of looks right. Bizarrely, the eye is really close into that edge, and that one is further from there, which is how it should be. So, yeah. So the dog's collar is sort of straight there and rounder there, which is this part, kind of behind the head, and then you've got your ears come in like that. No. It goes down and in, and then there's a part that comes down here. It's like that's the inside. Yeah, hang on. The dog's ear comes out here and down. This dog's ear comes over here and then down. And then that goes up, and then this comes and joins it. That's the shape of the ear. So, dog's ear starts at the collar. Start the collar, go out and down. And there's a part here which comes up and sort of splays out a bit. And then that goes up. And that goes down. That's the inner and the outer side of the ear, both of which are visible. And on the other side it's a very similar kind of structure. That goes out and then round to a sort of inner part like that. But then, yeah. Now, there's a sort of shoulder muscle there, shoulder muscle there, and then where these kind of meet, there's a, this comes down here and then out to there, and there's a similar one on this side. This paw comes down here, and approximately alongside that it splays out this way. This one is similar, but it comes back in because this actually goes under the ear, which is where it then curls down to a front paw, a bit shorter than the beak. And that's the case in both of these, is that the paw has a kind of that shape to this. I've drawn it right here, but I've drawn it wrong here. I should keep my watch open so I can, well, my phone open so I can see the time, because I've got to end. Literally have to stop at 8 o'clock. If this goes on longer than 8 o'clock, I just have to immediately stop. Right then, this knee comes in to meet this. Actually, it's a bit meatier than that. Yeah, it's more like that kind of shape and size. And then from there it comes back again and has a kind of almost a mirror of this foot, like it forms a little diamond if you see it. It's got this kind of that there. That comes like that, that comes like that, so this but that is a deeper curve. Let's go back to before we did all that. So if we have that curve there, we need this curve to come in this way. That actually goes like beneath that knee. Do dogs have knees? Is that what they're called, knees? I feel like I'm doing too tight an angle there. It's more like that. So you just forget how thin the legs of this dog are, because that is a very long, sort of thin shape, whereas this, I feel it's too chunky. Maybe it's about right. It's probably about right. And then of course we have the curve of the tail, which sort of comes up to there and disappears into the bum. Right. Now to turn this into an actual picture. Well, yeah, of course she is looking directly up at the viewer. What an adorable dog. Now this, I want a little scratch plate here so I could show you some stuff. The thing about how I've been drawing eyes so far is that generally speaking, animal eyes, I don't know if that's the right shape, but animals' eyes, the iris is so large that you generally only get, like, that whole thing would be the, maybe I started doing this too large. So if that's kind of an animal's eye, like that, you would actually have very little white in the eye and actually very little iris in the eye, because the whole thing tends to be filled in. Like if you look at the photographs of a lot of the different animals that I've done this time around, they've had practically completely black eyes, and the ones where you can see a little bit of, You see a little bit of brown here or there. It's always been like it's been so dark that it's not even made sense to really shade it. This dog's eyes, if we look, you see in this picture you can't really see it, but on my nicer monitor you can see it. The eye's more kind of there's a tiny rim of white and then like that much of the black. But this part is so dark that you can't really make it out. So a Disney eye, I've been looking, tend to have a sort of firstly they tend to be a lot rounder. Oops, just increased my paintbrush size. I really must fix that quick key for not doing that. Firstly, Disney eyes tend to be practically round. If they do have any kind of shape, it'll be like that. And then you have a fair bit of white. And then you have this big sort of shiny often with like a sub sparkle as well, and oops, and of course you got your so if I'm going to be trying to stylize, or as I've put it earlier, disnify animals' eyes, I need to give them this sort of slightly more human quality, except it's not that much of a human quality, because like a human eye would have the like that much iris and that much pupil. But when you put a human eye on an animal, it has this tendency to look a little too scared, like it looks very frightened on a large animal's eyes. So yeah, this is too human. This is too animal. This Disney. And that's what we're going for. I just noticed that I've made one mistake in this, and that is that if I'm going by sort of comparative limb sizes, like I feel like this should be longer and maybe not go quite as far down. Is that because I've not done the dog's beak long enough and therefore all these paws are stopping short as well? Should all the paws be longer? I don't have time to fix this. I don't have time to fix this in the time we've got. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to say that should end there, and I'm just going to cut the dog's bum short, and that'll work. Will that work? Of course it'll work. What are you talking about? I'm an artistic genius, and the dog's tail actually comes a lot lower. So let's just fix that part. That's the dog's leg, and the tail comes up to more like here. It goes a lot lower because it actually covers that part of the dog's leg. Thank God for pencil sketch today. So there's a bit more to this part actually here. This has a kind of a muscular section here. That's this dog's muscles. She is super strong. I mean, she's not that strong, but and this part too, where it goes up here, there's a kind of an extra muscle bit there. But this kind of blends into the dog's anatomy. So that's fine. That's what we're working with. And then we can add things like there's a sort of we'll work on that on the next layer. Time check. Got 45 minutes. I think I'm going to pull this off. I think I'm going to do this. So let's we're not worrying about shading, so it doesn't matter if it's like grey, because there's not going to be any grey in the actual final image. Let's get the details in first, so we'll zoom in on here. So then, first things first, we have got the right layer. First things first, we have the eye, which starts faint, gets heavier. Not that heavy though. It's kind of two lines. The first one comes down like that, and the second one comes like that. There we go. And this one's much the same. So that yeah. That's about right. Whoops. Ah, but the eyes were supposed to be bigger. I was supposed to be making the eyes bigger to be more Disneyfied, wasn't I? So actually that's... Oh, but it looks good actually. I like those eyes. They look good. I'm keeping them. I'm keeping that one at least. This one maybe does look a bit small actually now that I think about it. But there's a nice kind of perspective going on. But that perspective is not present in the image. Let me just come back to here. See, these eyes should have essentially a straight line parallel to the... So we have the line of the nose. Line of the nose, they should be... Yeah, that eye is twisted. I like that one. That one I'm going to redo. I'm going to redo it because it should come down like that. And then from there it should go up like... That's better. Probably doesn't look much different, but I like it. Right. Next up we have the shape of the head, which it's got a nice kind of symmetry to it. This sort of comes down and in a bit, and then whereas this one is practically a straight line. So that's the weird thing about the dog's nose, is that it sort of it trails all the way back, but it shouldn't be pointy, it should be kind of rounded at the end here. The one thing I don't want to do is do any hatching on this image. If I've done any hatching, I've done it wrong, because it's not meant to be that kind of image. So this curves round into our there's a really interesting feature of the ear there, which is that you can kind of see the underside here. Now the collar quite pleasantly tucks behind the ear there. There's a little sort of upward inflection on that I've missed. There we go. Because the collar actually goes behind that. Whereas this comes back here. Into that. On this side, it doesn't come out until the collar itself. There is very much a kind of shoulder blade look there. And actually, thinking about it, where I've done that, this does actually have a sort of shape to it which comes up here. Yeah. That paw looks alright, it does not look long enough. This is too long and this is too short. explains a lot. This is what I meant about proportion and angle being the things that I get wrong a lot. Just going back to this. Right. That should be longer. And that should be shorter. That kink should actually be above the ear. I've done the neck too short. I've done the neck too short. This starts too low. Oh my god. What an absolute mess that I'm making of this. This goes all the way up to a kind of bump here. See, there's this. I've missed this lump, which comes out here. That should actually go out there. This whole wing is just too low. The dog's neck should be there, that should come out to there, this should come out here, and that kink should be there. Should actually be a little bit further out as well, a little bit further away from the head. So this is not only too low, it's too close in. It's I know, right? What a mess. Right, so where that comes down, it should come out to a kind of a lump above the back there, and then this comes down at this angle. They should be the same length though. So this here is too. Oh god, I am messing everything up today. I'm falling down a rabbit hole here of trying to do comparisons of spacing on the original image, which don't necessarily have to be in place on this image. I'm going to go back to what I had. Actually, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Come on, we've started this process now. We may as well finish it. So this now comes down here to this kind of height. That is much more like it. Yeah, and then we have claw there, claw there, claw there. And we're back. So after that little excursion, we're now back on top. That's sweet.
Hey, you doing Dogadoo?
I'm doing a Dogadoo. Sometimes I call the dog Dogadoo. This should actually be under the head, I've just noticed, but that's... If we were to now put that under the head, it would be too long, or would it? Or would it? I'm just looking at comparing everything that I've got now, and it all just looks wrong. Everything looks wrong. It's all broken and ruined. So this paw, which we previously thought was the only good paw, is actually also wrong. Which also breaks this part of the body. It's one of the good things about a tablet is you can do as much erasing as you want. You can go back on your initial decisions as much as you want. So this paw actually pretty much disappears behind the ear. So it comes down here, and actually that goes under the head. And that comes out from there and goes like that. And now I'm sure that's Becky sending me messages, even though she literally just saw that I'm doing this. Why is she messaging me? Oh no, it's the book club again. I've got half an hour to finish this. No hurry. So, yeah. That one does actually go further up. Right, let's go back in on this layer. I'm going to get this spine in now because it's one of the few things that I actually feel really confident about having sketched in correctly. If I can only sketch it out correctly. So, this is the picture as it stands. What's missing? Why does it suddenly look so flat without those lines? So this ear is kind of wrong because it should be a little lower. This should actually come down more. I mean that can come down more, and that this can come down more. That is practically horizontal actually. See, she has got these kind of eyebrows. It's incredibly right, that's a good point actually. Just zoom in here. She does have this sort of thing going on in the corner of her eye. That's just a dog eye thing. That's a now on her beak she has a few additional lines. Doesn't really help though. It doesn't give it like shape. I don't know how to give it shape. How do you give a dog's head shape? So there's kind of a there's a sort of a hint line there on the original picture, and another one that comes down here which shows the kind of three-dimensionality of the head. So if I give her one line there, one which sort of comes out here, doesn't help. We have the white tip of the tail, that much we know. This has a few extra kind of wrinkly parts. That looks so wrong. Well, that part's slightly wrong. I can fix that. Because that actually goes all the way up to there. And then we have a little sort of extra kink there, which then goes all the way into a crease, of which this dog has many. You know what? Let's undo all of that. There is a lot more going on with that paw, but I don't think I can really capture it without going into like super fine detail, which I didn't want to do. Why does the head look flat? What's missing? Well, one thing that's wrong is that. Because this should actually come up and in more like that. Like the dog's head's round, but it's not that round. I think I'm going to call that a day because I've got 20 minutes to get set up for quiz. I'm going to call that the end of this amber picture. It's not a bad amber picture, it looks alright. Maybe that bit of leg's a bit short. But I think that's alright. They do say that if you flip the image, suddenly all the mistakes become obvious. And that eye looks really bad when you flip the image. Oh wow, the whole thing looks like garbage now. Well, there's one thing that I know for certain, and that is that is meant to be dark, because that is meant to be a pad of a foot, not the base of the foot. And there is also a little tiny bit of claw there. But that's really all that stands out. Can I fix that eye? Does it need rotating maybe? Maybe. Is that the eye that I already redrew twice? I feel like if it had a line that was more like that, it'd be better. No, although that did actually look pretty good, that. Just adding a little line there. Add another one there. You know what, I'm going to do that. I'm going to... No, I'm not. That looks fine as is. I like it. You like it. Everybody likes it. That's the mistake. I've just noticed why this looks wrong. Because the pupil is not in the centre of that arc. And it should be. I'm going to... That's a lot better. That's a lot better. Oh wow, that's better. Yes. Why is that there? Just realised how little of the page I've actually filled with this picture. I've been too zoomed in while I've drawn it. Damn. Well, that's okay. Do we have time to colour it? Maybe I'll do that as an extra project, not on the video, because right now I need to stop this and get set up for my quiz. Yeah. Just noticing mistakes after mistake after mistake. Now that I've rotated it, it's really obvious that that should go higher. So that crease can go into there. So yeah, sometimes that button works and sometimes it doesn't. I think it's to do with whether I lift the pen too far off the paper. There we go. This dog's knobbly knees in all their glory. Yeah. That's good, I'm keeping it. I'll stop the video now, because I've got to be quick.